Welcome everybody to today's creativity session, a time to relax, a time to play, grab your beverage, and unwind with me. This demonstration will be provided on the Procreate app using my iPad. However, you can follow along with any drawing tablet or just a plain and simple brush with paints. New videos are put out every Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you have any advice for me on how I could better my videos, please put it down in the comments below. Step number 1, we are going to create a new canvas. So we're going to go into the custom canvas creator. We're going to select inches on the left hand side and we're going to start with a 20 by 16 inch canvas. Step number 2, we're going to be downloading the template and the color palette from the description box below. Step number 3, we're going to be doing the background, which is the mountains and the sky. So we're going to be creating a layer on top of our previous layer, which is the template. And we are going to be going to our color wheel. I also selected the acrylic brush in the painting section. And we're going to start with kind of a gray-blue hue in the background. And we're gonna just roughly fill in that space behind there. And then I grab a lighter kind of ocean blue and I add it just to add a little bit of warmth on the left hand side. Next, I grab a white color and I use circular motion to add clouds into the background. So we're going to be doing it above the mountain range and leaving a little bit of sky visible in the background. You can use different hues of white here just to add a little bit of warmth and depth. However you want to do this, there is absolutely no rules. Have fun with it. The next color I grab is a darker gray color, just to add a little bit of shadowing to the underside of some of the clouds. For the mountains that are in the background, so the furthest away, I pick a dark gray color and I roughly fill in that section at the very back. And then I pick a light color, a medium tone, just to add a little bit of highlights towards the top of the mountain. For the mountains, kind of in mid-range, I pick a warm brown color and I just fill this in roughly. It doesn't need to be perfect because we are going to be using the smudge tool in a bit. Then I pick a golden color, and kind of the mountains that are closest to us is what that light golden color would be. A little bit more shadowing. And then I grab that smudge tool and I blend everything together, and you will see in a few minutes how this is going to look. Next, we're going to be going into the brush section and we are going to go to materials and we're going to find the cloud option, which is at the very bottom. I like using this brush for trees because it just adds that fluffiness that tops of trees would have that I'm looking for. So I pick kind of a lighter golden color and I go in, I splotch where the lighter trees would be on the mountainside, where the light would be hitting it. And then I pick a little bit of a lighter color just to add a little bit more highlight. And I continue this on the other side of the mountain. Just the golden and the light color, and I meet them in the middle. And I carry those two colors through, and then you can see that I'll increase my brush size just so I have a bigger surface area to cover. And I roughly do it to the rest of the mountain sides there. And then I decrease my brush size and I put a little bit of finer detail just where there would be any creases to the mountains. On the left hand side, I just need to add a little bit of a darker shadow to where the back side of that mountain would be. And I add just that dark color to a few select places where there would be shadowing. Here is where I realized that I forgot to paint part of my mountain. So I'm just touching that up right now. And I am smudging everything together. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go into layers section, and the current layer we're in, we're going to press where it shows an N, and we're going to lower the opacity to about 80%. Next, we're going to focus on the mist and the water. So we're going to keep that brush, the cloud brush, and we're just going to pick a white color, and we're going to feather in the mist above the water line, but not to cover up any of the mountains. And use kind of a circular motion. Don't worry about covering up the template. Next, I grab a dark gray color and I just add a little bit of shadowing to the left-hand side where the water line would be, to suggest kind of where the water line ends. And I do end up smudging that together, and then where all the water is, I just add a base beige color. Step 5 is we're going to be establishing the tree line. So I go in here and I add a 4th layer on top of everything. And I pick a dark brown color to add at the base of this tree line. And I just messily splash it in. I have my daughter with me. And then the golden color can be towards the tip of the trees where the light would be hitting it. And basically by, like, the further you get down, the darker the colors should be. And then I carry that golden color into the water line where the reflection would be. At any point, you can go into your layers and you can turn off that background template or the guide. And then I'm just taking that golden color and I am carrying it through, and then I put some darker trees kind of in the forefront. Adding a little bit more shadow. And then I take a white color and I add some blotches where there would be rocks or highlights on the side of the mountain. And then I darken up some of the reflection in the water. With the smudge tool, you are going to just nicely blend the colors together. Just do what feels right. At this point, we have to turn the guide back on, and we're going to continue on the tree line on the other side of the painting. And same kind of process. So we add kind of the golden tips of the tops of the trees. And then we fill in that whole area with the same color. And then I grab a darker color towards the bottom. So we do lighter colors on top, darker colors towards the bottom, where less sunlight would be hitting. Again, it doesn't need to be perfect. We're going to be blending everything together. Here's where I take the smudge tool. And what's really nice about this is you can kind of drag the color where you want it. So I wisp out the edges of the trees this way. To add a bit more depth, I just add some shadowing to the back side of the trees, just a dark brown color in a few select places. And I add a few scribbles along the shoreline where rocks would be. And then I continue with a lighter color, so highlight. And this is where I carry down the reflection of the trees into the water. And you can see that I use a couple different colors here. Once you get a couple colors going into the water, you can use the smudge tool and kind of smudge and blur the edges and the lines. Using a side-to-side motion, it gives the illusion of there being ripples in the water. Here I just add a darker shadow to the bottom of where the island ends and then carry it through into the trees a little bit more. Step number 6 is doing the dock and then the lady sitting on the dock. So I just grab my acrylic brush in the paint section and I grab a brown or a dark, I'd call that almost like a charcoal color from the color palette, and I fill in any edges where the dock would be. Next, I lighten it up a bit with just like a warmer brown hue. I go over all of those exact same spots. And then I fill in that middle section with a light brown color. We're going to be adding to this in a bit. This is just the base colors, and then here I just smudge everything together. Next, I remove the background image, which is the template, just to see better what I'm working with. And I start by adding lines to where the dock boards would be running. And then I use a dark black lines to kind of outline the edge of the dock. This just makes the edges stand out more and makes it pop a little bit more. Don't worry about the edges being too harsh because we grab the smudge tool in a second here and we kind of lightly blend everything together. Next, we're going to be working on the lady on the dock, and she has a blanket around her shoulders, which I am filling in with a dark gray. Nice and messy. Then we're going to take a darker gray color and make the brush size a little bit smaller, and wherever you can see the lines of the template, you're going to just roughly etch in where those lines are. It doesn't need to be perfect or make sense because everything's going to be blurred or smudged out. And the idea is to build layers. So this is just the base layer. I add a little bit of highlighted areas with just a light gray. And then I pick a white color and add a couple more highlighted areas. And then I just roughly darken up some of the lighter areas. Right away here, we'll grab the smudge tool and we will blend everything together nicely. At any point, you can go in and remove that template layer. It's just easier to see what you're working with that way. And then I fix up just with a smaller brush size and add some finer detail. So I'm adding highlights and I'll add some lowlights. And then I go in and darken up around the dock where the lady is sitting, where there would be shadows casting. And then I do a couple shadows underneath where the legs of the dock are. I add that template back in and I start on the lady's hair, which I picked just a warm dark brown color. Just fill in that space. And then where her arm is and the cup. And then I remove the template, again, just to get a better look. Next, I grab the brush in the materials section, and it's the fine hair brush. And we just pick almost a black color, and I just wanted to add some body to the hair. And then I just smudge out wherever it kind of overlapped there. Using the acrylic brush again, I'm just adding some shadowing to the arm. I do end up changing the position of the arm later in the video. As you can see, it just doesn't look very natural. That was just my mistake. I think that was supposed to be blanket and not arm in my sketch. Step number 7 is water and touch-ups. So we're just adding some darker reflective points to the water here. You can just scribble in a dark brown color, and then you're just going to keep on adding on top of it. So I added the dark colors, and then I smudged it in, and then I go and grab a light white color. I add it underneath the dock, and then I carry it through the water where there would be like glimmers of the light hitting it. Here is where I fix up that arm. And then I add almost like a beige mist. So I wanted to carry the mist up so where it met the clouds on the right hand side. And then I also fixed up the dock a little bit more. I just wanted to add more of the dark brown hues. I didn't like how light it was. I also add some reflections in the water, so some lighter points on the tree's end in the water. And then I also add some highlights in the back mountains as well, where there would be maybe like snow on the top of the mountains, and then I just smudge it out so it's not too harsh. Well, that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching.